As soon as he went down, Tucker, it looked like an Achilles injury. All the reporting we've gotten since then, it looks like an Achilles injury. I think that's probably what's going to come out. And this is it raises questions about when are we going to actually see Justin Jefferson now? Are they going to hold him out? Is this the last time Kirk Cousins is going to play for the Vikings? Lots of questions going on here coming out of this Kirk Cousins injury.
Yeah, and you mentioned like it very rarely are they wrong about an Achilles injury, right? Like very rarely do you hear he's getting an MRI tomorrow, might be an Achilles. Then you find out, just kidding, there was something else, in his calf. And if you know the nature of an Achilles injury, more often than not, there's like a golf ball sized lump in the back of your knee. That just doesn't happen
And if you
all that
watch the
often.
injury, you can kind of see it. And so
Yeah, so
that's what it is. Yeah.
and it sucks because the Vikings have kind of turned things around recently. They beat up a Packers team that certainly looks hapless this year, and Jordan Love might not be as great as we maybe initially thought at the beginning of the season. But yeah, it's weird because the Vikings, maybe if this had happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, we'd say, well, this season's over. It doesn't matter anyway. Shut it down. You can trade kind of all your high priced veterans, start rebuilding, look towards next year, and maybe get enough draft capital where you can get a young quarterback in here to grow with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and that offense. And now you're 4-4. You're playing in a pretty weak division, although Detroit's running away with it. And right now, I think they're gonna easily walk to a division title in the NFC North. But you have Jaron Hall as your backup, who's a rookie 5th-round pick. I don't think they expected him to play a whole lot because Kirk Cousins has never missed a game due to injury in his career. I mean, he kind of was an Iron Man. He played a lot, although he was benched a lot earlier in his career and backed up RG3. But it's really interesting because this is a team at a crossroads. Your best players on IR waiting to come back. And I don't know if he comes back in 3 weeks and you're 4-7, do you just tell him to shut it down and don't risk re-injury? Can you do that when he's the best player and he's the one selling tape? Like from a business perspective, I don't think it makes sense to keep him on the sidelines. And yeah, if you're Minnesota, I don't know where you go from here because you're not really in an enviable position because this is a aging quarterback who is already playing in a contract year. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. There are already discussions this week discussing like if they had lost, maybe they would trade him, to a contender who needed a quarterback, a team like the Jets or someone like that. And now you don't even have that option, right? I mean, at this point, I don't know. I don't even know if you want Kirk Cousins back at his age coming off an Achilles injury. I don't know what the ceiling is there. And you don't have any options in-house or readily available to replace him anyway. That's kind of how they got stuck with him anyway. He was the best of a bad bunch. And shout out to him. He's played pretty well in his time in Minnesota. But right now, I don't know where Minnesota turns. I really don't. Like at quarterback, they don't really have an answer. And they aren't a team that's bad enough that they can, cross their fingers and hope they fall into the bottom 5 or top 5 of the draft coming up and maybe take a shot at one of the first round picks because they aren't really in that situation.
So I think right now Sean Mannion's on the practice squad. I think that we will probably see Sean Mannion. I think that maybe, Mannion is easier to keep stashed on the practice squad than a rookie. Maybe they just wanted to keep the rookie. We see that a lot. And so I would think Mannion comes back. And I see here that Nick Mullins is eligible to return week 10. And so we can see I don't know how bad his back injury was, but so maybe we see Nick Mullins. But yeah, you mentioned it. This team was moving in the right direction. They're 4-4. They're 4-4 now. They were moving right where they needed to go. And this pretty much takes them out of it. I think Viking fans have seen all of the Sean Mannion they ever want to see. And so I'm not, Jaron Hall. I mean, he is some people got excited about him. He is a rookie 5th-rounder. And so, yeah, I think that's it. And I do think the questions about their future are really interesting because unlike they did draft Jordan Addison in the 1st round, but to me, that felt like good value. Unlike some of the other teams that were nearing the end of their quarterback windows, or were just kind of like hold on a little bit, the Bucks kind of felt that way. They did make some moves this offseason that were getting rid of veterans, especially along that defensive line. There's been a lot of trade rumors about Danielle Hunter, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that move happen. And so I think that they could start like a soft tear down here and then try to figure out the quarterback situation later because I don't think Kirk Cousins was coming back to this team regardless.